So really quickly, we want to look at the disclaimers because we want to make sure that we're understanding the confines of this data, because if we do depend on this data, we should carry some of those disclaimers forward in our own reporting, right? And realize what the limitations are. So that's super important. And then we want to take a look at the executive summary. But a lot of these executive summary items we kind of got already from the charts, right? You know, we already got like a sense for the data, right? Developing that sense, that initial nose for the data, really important. A snapshot is going to tell us that, what are we looking at here? Okay, it's telling us by the individual groups that we had earlier. So again, central banks, jewelry, so on. Leo says, don't we have that already by region? What are we looking for by doing that? No, Leo, we don't. We have it by region, but not by country, right? And I think that was the spirit of Yassine's statement, that we also want to break it down by country. And also, we haven't looked at consumer data, right? We've looked at either metadata or jewelry manufacturers and central banks, but we haven't looked at the consumer level, right? So Leo, you're bringing up a good point here. When you're doing these studies and when you're doing this type of analysis, it's very important that you keep clear on the different segments that you're looking at, right? Data is all about segmentation, right? So you got to make sure you keep it in your mind to always say, okay, well, wait a minute, hold on. What segment did I look at? What is the definition of that segment, right? And that kind of comes back to the previous one where we talked briefly about the bars. Well, okay, I understand that they broke bars out of a segment, but who's the buyer for that? Like, who is the bars segment for? Not for your average person on the street, right? So keeping that segmentation super interesting, right? Or excuse me, super important. Like, remember earlier I pointed out, hey, this chart title about China is catching my eye. Okay, great, but we haven't looked at China. We looked at Asia, right? Asia is not China. Asia is much more than that, right? Applying local knowledge, I know that Thailand is a huge consumer of gold, especially at the consumer level. So you can't say that we've looked at China data, we've looked at Asia data, right? So yeah, you're bringing up a good point, Leo, but I encourage all of you to always keep that segmentation clear. Because otherwise, you kind of end up tripping over your own analysis, right? And then, and more importantly, you kind of open yourself up to somebody poking holes in your analysis, right? You're going to have guys like me saying, oh, wait a minute, no, you mix this with this, and that doesn't go together. You had a logic flaw here, right? And I've done that to my summer interns, by the way, to the bad interns. But you got to be careful with that. You got to be careful that you segment it out. Okay, so keep that in mind whenever you work on anything, really. Okay, so now we're looking at gold balances, and this is the demand side, right? The supply and demand side for different types of gold. So for jewelry inventory, for technology uses, for coins, for bars, right? Okay, so again, to Leo's point here, we didn't look at coins. We looked at bars and coins. But now here, we can have a breakout for the coins. We can have a breakout especially for the bars, right? So this is why you want to look at the raw data, because the reports, the charts, they tend to have like the compressed data, or if you want to think about it, they have like the group by, right? The SQL group by. Well, you don't want the group by if you're doing a new study or you want to build on their data. You want the data as raw as possible, right? And this is where you get that, right? Here we're going to talk about our jewelry demand, and now we have it broken out by country. So we have the Middle Eastern countries, China and its territories, rest of Asia. So I mentioned Thailand. I'm not surprised to see Thailand here. I know we have some viewers from Pakistan, so we have Pakistan in here. I'm assuming India. Yep, India is here. So this is all valuable stuff, guys. Valuable stuff. And also on the consumer side, right? We've talked a lot about central banks and all that, but we haven't talked about consumer. What can consumer tell us? That's interesting too, I think, right? So this is all great, right? All right, so what's next, guys? We have raw data. Give me a 1 if you want to go into modeling. You want to create a model right now. Or give me a 2 if you want to do some exploratory data analysis. What's next in our process? Give me a 1 or a 2. Give me a 1 for modeling, a 2 for exploratory data analysis. What do you guys think? All right, we're getting some votes coming in already. All right. All right, good. Good. Lots of votes. Lots of votes. Last call for votes. All right. Yeah, wonderful, guys. Wonderful. If anybody was going to vote 1, I was going to fire them, by the way. Always, 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 your second step is exploratory data analysis. Always, okay? Lots of teams go wrong right here. But we have the raw data. Let's go for it. No, you don't know anything about the data yet, right? You haven't done your EDA phase yet. So you really don't know a thing about it. Right? So super important to follow the methodology here. All right? So that's what we're going to do next. We're going to close this out because I want to use this exact same file. And we are going to say hello once again to our brand new employee, ChatGPT, right? Because we are data scientists, but we know that we want to be prepared for the future. And being prepared for the future is using AI, right? So yes, of course, we could write code for EDA and all that stuff. But that's not the future, right? That's dinosaur land. So we're going to use ChatGPT, being very specific in our prompt.